let's review this then. It's a Siemens S46-59. There's no load size on it, but it is indeed a 7 kilogram load. Right. The model number is a WT46S59 8 GB-03. Now, the 8 after the 59 within that model code is important because it gives you the slight variation on the machine. For example, there is also a 59.0, but that's a much later model, which also gives you more programs. And of course, this isn't it, so we're going to do this one instead. This is, I think, rather more one of the first 7 kilogram condenser dryers from Siemens with a glass door and the full screen. You've got the one with the smaller screen as well, which is on the Siemens and the Bosch variants. If I get my Bosch one working again, rebuilt, I'll also do the Bosch review at some point as well, which has the small screen. Right, so let's have a look at this then. It came out in 2006. Yes, it is that old. It's still perfectly running, apart from maybe a slight roller bearing thud, but other than that, it's perfectly working. It gives you a total of 15 programs in total to choose from. When we turn it on, there's also a drum light, door handles here, pull it to open. Now, there is a common issue with all of these here. This has got a very slight chip on the door. My personal black one has a complete smashed door. However, I think something's gone into that because the screen on that is also broken. So, yeah. Oh, and also, this is the same as the Black Edition version of mine as well. So, I'm going to put the model code for the Black Edition version also in this title of this video. Yeah. So that's your common problems. Also, these pins can break because the door does drop, hence why the door cracks. But because when you shut it, it can end up being slightly below where it should be sat. Now, if you notice, we've got these air bubbles on the drum design, and that's to help give you a cushion away from the drum, giving better airflow through the drum, speeding up drying and saving you a little bit of energy whilst doing so, but also makes it less harsh on your clothes as well. It's one of the first kind of dryers on the market, as well as sort of Miele, that kind of started doing this. Got our filter here as well. Bit of an odd design though with the filter, because you've got the filter which goes there, but you've got these sort of air waves here. Right, I have no really idea what they actually do other than clog up with fluff, because all of this directs it through to the filter. And the only thing I can think of, the only reason why they're there, is if you've got socks in, a sock may lie across top of that, which would prevent, obviously, airflow. But then by having these at the side, the airflow would still go through. However, like I just said, they do build up with fluff inside these side ducts, which you can't really get at. So, subsequently, if a sock does land on that right now, it will just stop the airflow. At the bottom, we've got our air intake for the cooling fan, and we've got the flap down there, which drops down. It's still quite tough, which means it's still in good condition. We've got our condenser behind there, water bottles here, and then we've got our programs and options. Now, I've had to lift the camera up and point it down because the actual display is kind of aimed towards up at you. If you were to look it straight on, it can kind of fade a little bit. So, yeah. You can go from left to right from the program dial here, and off, of course, is the top dead position. We'll start off with here. So we've got Cotton's Extra Dry, which will basically get to cupboard dry and then dry a lot more for hems and make sure everything is fully cured. Cupboard Dry Plus is somewhere between Extra Dry and Cupboard Dry. Cupboard Dry just gets things completely dried, ready for putting into the cupboard. And Iron Dry leaves stuff damp, ready for ironing. But that's going to get a little bit more complicated in a minute. Right. Max load is 7 kilo for this program. Then we've got mixed fabrics. We've got Cupboard Dry and Iron Dry versions. I have used Cupboard Dry actually on mixed load, and it got everything completely dry. So the sensor does work rather well. It's made for drying a 3 kilogram load. Then you got 2 time programs. So we've got the first one, which is warm, which will allow you to dry up to apparently only 3 kilos. Why not 7? Do not know, because when we hit change here, it will add 10 minutes to the time and go all the way up to, come on, 2 hours 30, which in essence you should be able to dry up to 7 kilos. But anyway, what the time drying does is obviously not use a sensor dryer and will run for that amount of time hot, or in this case at 10 minutes, just no air. It would just run a cool down instead. Yeah. Then we've got Drying Basket, which is also a time program, but it dries at a lower temperature instead. What it's made to be used for is with the basket, which we don't have unfortunately with this machine. You can buy them online from Siemens, Bosch, as an additional tool for your dryer. And what you're supposed to do is use it with wool jumpers and trousers and stuff like that. Stuff that can't be tumbled, right? So effectively, what the dryer is doing is using airflow over a stationary garment, right? It dries at a low temperature rather than high temperature as it does on warm. And that's all that does. Again, you can have up to, I think it's 2 hours. Up to 2 hours 30. So that's alright. You can also dry shoes apparently, but apparently you put them on the drying basket, but not in the drying basket. What you do is you take the drying basket back out, you put your trainers into a pillowcase, then put them in and then put them on the drying basket cycle, because of course it dries at a low temperature, and then use an hour 30 or something like that to dry them. Then we've got Rapid, which is 40 minutes long. Now, the max load apparently is 3 kilograms, which I don't really get, because Rapid is supposed to be in conjunction with the super quick 15-minute wash, i.e. you use 15-minute wash, or Express 15 on the Siemens version, put them in the dryer for 40 minutes and come out basically just about ready to wear. And I mean cupboard dry, it really is cupboard dry, ready near enough. Maybe slight dampness, but just it's basically a hybrid between iron dry and cupboard dry. So it's somewhere in between there. So you take them out, give them a shake, and 10 minutes later they're all fully dry. It's quite clever how it does it. Rapid actually uses a sensor drying in that case to dry stuff. However, there is a maximum limit, and I think it's like an hour. After an hour, it will just kind of end the cycle anyway. Woolen's Finish is made for drying up to 1.5 kilos of wool. apparently supposed to put it in. It doesn't dry the garments fully according to the manual. It just fluffs them up. But I say what you should be doing with them is getting your woolens. You're supposed to take them out of the washing machine and put them in there for 6 minutes of warmth, and it is literally 6 minutes of heat, and that's all it does. And then take them back out and finish them off. But I say kind of dry most of it first, get it to a point where it's nearly dry, then put them in for 6 minutes, then take them back out and finish them back off afterwards. You got the outdoor cycle made for drying 1.5 kilos of garments. Again, 1 hour 47, so it's going to be drying at a low heat. But it's made for stuff like, say, this and, you know, waterproof stuff and stuff like that. It doesn't actually state in the manual whether it uses low heat or anything like that. It doesn't state any special mechanical action, but what I will tell you is that it does work, and it does work rather well. Then you got ease. Then you got decrease, which is 30 minutes long. Now, apparently, it just says it's not a drying cycle. It's not a complete drying cycle, and stuff will come out still damp. Honestly, that's not what this is for, because apparently it takes up to 3 kilograms. Right, but then so does Easy Care at Iron Dry. No, what decrease is for, and written wrongly, is what you're supposed to do is take 3 kilograms of crease clothes that are dry and put them in, and then put it on, and then the heat from the cycle will relax the clothes, and then you take them out and iron them straight away. That's what you're supposed to do. It's supposed to make your ironing day a lot easier. Then you got Easy Care, Iron Dry, which leaves stuff damp, Cover Dry, which dries stuff near enough fully, and then Very Dry, which is Cover Dry plus a little bit extra. Yeah. Right, we've also got menu here. Go in the menu, we've got time delay, which is delay end up to, and that's the delay end, so if I was to start the cycle now, it will, you know, kind of wait 5 hours and then start the cycle. Up to 20 hours by looks, up to 19 hours. So we've got time delay up, we've got a delay end up to 19 hours. Then we've got the beeper, and that is literally it. The beeper controls both the beeper for changing the options and the end beeper too. Again, just press change. Obviously 0 turns it off. Then we got this, which is, it fine adjusts the sensitivity of the dryer sensor. So if you're using it, if you're using the dryer and you put it on Cover Dry and it's still coming out slightly damp, you can fine tune it up to 3 different levels. And as you can see, I've used it on 0 and it works perfectly for me. More than likely, you'll have to change that sensitivity depending on the hardness of your water. So generally speaking, if you're in a hard water level area, you will likely have to set that sensitivity to level 2. Then we got spin speed. Now this has nothing to do with the dryer whatsoever. What it does, if I set this to, it's currently set at 800 RPM. And we can have 100 RPM steps from 600 all the way up to 1800 RPM. And what you're essentially doing is setting the spin speed at what the clothes are spun at in the washing machine. Now, this relates to be honest, Siemens and Bosch washing machines. So if you've got any other brands, the timings won't necessarily be accurate. But let me just show you. So, what I'm going to do is turn it off, turn it back on. Currently, it's set at, say, 800 RPM. Yep. So these are the timings for 800 RPM. Look, if I was to go easy care as well, otherwise we can increase the spin speed, which is hard because you can go all the way up to 1800 RPM, which you can't do on the actual machine, so it makes no sense. Anyway, so if we were to increase the spin speed from 800 to 1200, and then show you the timings, you can see how much it drops it. If I was to do it at 1400, ooh. And then finally, if we were to do it at 1800, ooh. Yeah, it makes a massive difference to what the time says there. However, all that does is give you an estimate. That's all that spin speed thing does. Currently, we're going to now set this to 800 RPM. They were spun at 1000, it's just that it's in the old candy and they don't spin for very long for 1000. So, yeah, it's more like an 800 spin anyway. Right, finally we've got these options here. We've got low heat twice. Although the second low heat doesn't seem to turn it down that much. Look, if I was to go to easy care watch. And low heat doesn't actually half the heater or anything, because the heater only can go on or off. It is, I believe, temperature controlled. So low temperature will lower the temperature, or limit the temperature, shall I say. And that's what low heat does. Then we got less ironing, and what that does is extends the final anti-crease stage at the end of the cycle, if it's applicable. So we're going to do cover dry on cottons with less ironing selected, and then finally we've got start stop. When I press that, it's going to go solid. Ready? So in the display at the top here, you know, we've got, it shows our progress throughout the cycle. So we've obviously got drying, we've then got iron dry reach, cover dry reach, and then cool down, and then finally anti-crease as well, all shown in that display.
between down here really, Matt. I haven't got much room there. I'm a bit squashed.
Oh, I can.
Hey?
I can just have to move these three out. So it's
Yeah, I need it fetching down here really. I mean, it more or less managed yesterday, but it was a bit squashed really. Then we can get that put back up then, out of the way.
Well, can you finish the first fridge down there first while I sort out?
Can do.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then the second fridge I'll bring down here then. Because it won't take you long to do that fridge.
well, no,
Because you've got to do it outside, that's all.
yeah, but the inside.
That's what I mean, yeah.
But yeah, because we've done all the bits.
Yeah. Let's take a look then. Perfect. Right, so let's give this out of 10 then. Well, it's going to get a solid 9.5, simply because it's as good as a Miele, but the but is the build quality like this, stuff like that. But of course it's cheaper too, so it's kind of balancing a little bit. Yeah, there's some things that kind of let this down in certain ways, but other than that, it's good. It's a good dryer. Right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a like if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And we'll see you in another video. So, bye for now.